Hello and welcome. My name is Amy from the King Arthur Baking Company, and it's great to be back baking with you after a few weeks off. So normally I'm here with my daughter Grace, but she has school today and we just weren't able to work out our schedule that she could be here baking with us. So I promise she will be back later for more recipes. But she's actually okay missing this particular recipe because today we're going to be making chocolate cake, and for whatever reason Grace doesn't like chocolate cake. So our recipe today is called Original Cake Pancake. As always, you can find this on our webpage and you'll find the link in the post to this video. All right, so Original Cake Pancake. So I chose this recipe for a couple of reasons. I really like this recipe. One is it has kind of an interesting history. So this recipe was developed during the Depression, and at that time, ingredients like eggs and milk and butter were just a little bit expensive, so you might not want to use them in your cake. So this recipe does not have eggs or milk or butter. We're going to be using water and oil in our cake. It also makes just one cake. So we're not making a layer cake. You can make either a 9-inch round or an 8-inch square cake. So you're not investing in a huge cake, all right? I like it for that reason as well. The other reason I like this cake is that it is October. At the end of the month is my grandmother's birthday, and she's going to be 100 years old, and she loves chocolate cake. So I'm gonna make this cake for her and give it to her later this week, because when you are 100, you get any cake you want, and you get the entire cake for yourself, all right? So let's get ready. We're getting ready to bake. So I have washed my hands, pulled my hair back. I like to put on my apron. You know how messy I can be. I've read my recipe all the way through 2 times. I have all my ingredients and all the tools I need, okay? We are going to mix our dry ingredients together and our wet ingredients together, and then we're gonna combine them. So let's start with our dry ingredients. We are doing 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour. So remember, for a King Arthur recipe, when we measure flour, we fluff, sprinkle, sweep. We want about 4¼ ounces per cup. So there's my 1, and here's my 1/2. All right. Next, we have 1 cup of sugar. So I can just scoop and level off with this one. Right there, perfect. We are adding 1/2 teaspoon of salt and 1 teaspoon of baking soda. So I have those already measured out here, and I'm gonna put those in. Now for our chocolate flavoring, we are going to add 1/4 a cup of unsweetened cocoa. And in this recipe, we can use either Dutch processed cocoa or natural cocoa. Depending on what recipe you're using, you want to look and see if they specify, because they're actually different. And let me tell you a little bit. So here I have Dutch processed cocoa, and then this is natural cocoa. All cocoa is acidic. Dutch processed cocoa, it is not from Holland. It just means that it has been processed where they have taken a lot of the acidity out. This has now become much more alkaline, which is the opposite of acidic. We pay attention to the acidity in our baked goods because depending on the kind of leavening agent we are using, we might need this to be a source of acid to help our baking soda to react. However, in our particular recipe, we're going to be using vinegar as our acid, so we don't need our cocoa to do that for us. So that's why in this recipe we can use either. But in another recipe, just pay attention. If they're asking for something specifically, it's because they factor that into the chemistry of your recipe, all right? So this is asking for 1/4 or 1/4 cup. I'm going to use this dark Double Dutch dark cocoa. I'm gonna scoop way down and level off and try not to get cocoa everywhere, which I probably will. There's my 1/4 cup of cocoa. Put that in. It looks nice and chocolatey. I'm just gonna take my whisk and I'm gonna give this a quick whisk to combine those ingredients. All right, so now I have my liquid ingredients. One option for your cake is to add a half a teaspoon of espresso powder. So flavorings like coffee and vanilla are actually flavors within chocolate, and when you add those to a chocolate recipe, it can help your chocolate taste more chocolatey. So my liquid ingredients include a cup of water. If you didn't have instant espresso, you could actually use a cup of coffee. So this is some coffee that I had left over from this morning. So instead of a cup of water and espresso powder, I'm just using a cup of cold coffee. So here's 1 cup. I'm now gonna add 1/3 cup of vegetable oil, and I'm gonna put it all in the same cup. I'm getting eye level. So now I wanna look for the 1 1/3 cup line, which is right there. All right. I told you that we were using some vinegar to be the acid in our recipe. So you can use white vinegar or apple cider vinegar. Either of those are fine. Do not use something like balsamic or red wine vinegar. Those are not going to taste right. So I have that. 1 tablespoon, and then a teaspoon of vanilla. I'm missing Grace with all of her good measuring and mixing for me. All right. All right, and then I like to look over and make sure I got everything. I did my flour, my sugar, my cocoa, salt, baking soda, vanilla, vinegar, vegetable oil, and then water or coffee. I'm just gonna mix this up a little bit. We are adding our wet ingredients to our dry ingredients. I'm just gonna pour this in here. So one reason this is called a cake pancake is because theoretically you can actually make this all in your cake pan. So you put the dry ingredients into your cake pan and you make little wells, like a well for the water, a well for the oil, the vinegar, the vanilla, and then you can actually mix it in your cake pan. So when you're mixing something, always make sure to give yourself a big enough bowl where you can mix and you're not worried things are gonna come out. All right, that's it. Very easy. This is one reason why this recipe is actually a little bit dangerous, because it's ingredients you probably have on hand, because it's so easy to make. It means that you can have chocolate cake at any time. So my oven is ready. I have my lightly oiled 9-inch round pan, and I'm just gonna scoop my cake batter in there. I have to say, usually when I make chocolate cake, more than anything else, I tend to make a mess and get it all over. But this doesn't seem to be too bad. All right, I'm getting this all out. Perfect. All right, I'm gonna put this in the oven, and then when we come back, we'll frost it. See you in a bit. All right, so this actually, our cake is in the oven. It's going to bake at 350 degrees for about 30 minutes. This is a cake I made earlier. It's already cooled off and ready for us to frost. So one thing I just want to point out so I don't forget, up until this point, this cake is actually vegan. So if you have some vegan friends or that's something you want to explore, then this cake will work. So this frosting is super easy. There's lots of great frosting recipes. This one, we're mixing 1.5 cups of chocolate chips and half a cup of half and half. That's it. You mix them together, melt them together, and pour it over the cake. So I mixed my chocolate chips and my half and half is literally half and half. It's half heavy cream, half milk, together in my Pyrex. I put it in the microwave for just about a minute. I took it out and I just mixed it up with my whisk until it's smooth. That's it. So now I'm gonna pour it over the cake. You can watch me do it. When the cake that's in the oven comes out, I'm gonna let that cool off. Once it's cool, I'm gonna wrap it up really well and stick it in the fridge, and that's the cake I'm actually gonna bring to my grandmother's. I'm gonna frost that later because I'm not gonna see her for a few days. All right, but I can keep that cake in the refrigerator. So I'm gonna start there. And I have this knife. I'm just gonna spread it around. You can go over the sides if you want. It's up to you. I have enough. I think I might have it run down the sides. So I'm gonna be honest, I am not a fancy cake decorator. Just gonna kind of push it, let it drip out a little bit on the sides. There, that's it. Someone gets to lick all the chocolate that's left in the mixing cup. All right, so this is our cake pancake, our one pancake. Ingredients you have right in the pantry. Really easy and delicious. So I hope you give it a try and I hope that you enjoy it. Thank you so much and happy baking.